everybody, Sam Burge here, and today I am doing a review on The Thing, and I'm calling this one the prequel thing because it's before John Chapner's The Thing, because it explains what happened at the Norwegian camp, so that's why I call it the prequel thing. I know a lot of people are going to argue about it, but it's so obvious that it's a prequel, and I do believe the whole entire website, when they were talking about this, saying it was a prequel. But for some reason, everybody likes to argue and say it's not. But I believe it is, because all the little, I would call, how would you say, Easter eggs that they put in there to make you know that this is a prequel, it's there. Hell, the ending was there to show you that this movie was a prequel. But besides that, I just want to talk about, I really love the prequel. I really adored it. I just could not get enough of the prequel. I felt like it was done well, really well, to an extent that I say that for a movie that goes back to a movie that was like made in like the 1980s, I think. Whenever E.T. came out, because that's when John Chapner's Thing came out, was the same time that E.T. movie, which I've never seen E.T. in my whole entire life. Shit you not. But, I loved it. I love the exact details they put into it. I love how they keep an eye out for these things. And it's just like so well done. And it's like so common courtesy with it. You know, it's like it puts things into perspective so you know how things lined up for John Chapner's The Thing. If you know what I'm saying. I really love it. The storyline's good. It's pretty basic. And I gotta really say The Thing's introduction was pretty fast paced too at the same time. But they kind of left a lot of things open to start, because the Thing's introduction, I think in John Chapner's The Thing, took a while before it actually showed itself. I think it was like almost the first 15 to 10 minutes. The movie didn't introduce like their creature in John Chapner's The Thing. Then this prequel thing, it kind of like, it came pretty fast. Like they introduced how the Norwegians found the ship, and then they have a couple other things to add more characters and stuff, where it's like I'm trying to think, they recruit this one girl who's like good with like frozen preserved animals. They recruit her because they found something and they need her expertise. And I like that. For once, instead of having everything already there, they sort of show them, like, you know, in different locations to give them all an idea of, like, what's going on. And I really appreciate it. It was like, you know, it kept everything paced well. It had good build-up. I do believe that the build-up was really good. And when they do bring the creature, and, you know, they already have the creature in that ice block. All they needed was that girl to come in there, drill, you know, to give her advice and stuff. And you got the main character, and sorry if I'm horrible with names, because you don't really hear their names a lot, and a few of them, because most of the male characters in there are Norwegian. Their names are really hard for me to pronounce, and you don't really hear them a lot. You don't really do. You don't hear everybody's name said a lot. So, what I mean by the guy, spoiler, he's the one that he gets turned into a thing at the end of the movie and drives off in the snowplow. He's the blonde-haired guy. But you get him, and he's kind of an asshole towards her, but that's, you know, stereotypical. It keeps with the time era when, like, you know, men were still sexist as fuck. So it's like having that guy be that one guy becoming the main creature. He was kind of the, what's his name? It's so long since I've seen the original John Chapner's Thing. But, he becomes the main he becomes the main villain character. Like, well, I mean, anyone who's infected automatically becomes the main villain, but I mean, he's the one that actually gets in the ship and is the thing. He's transformed into a thing, so it's like it makes more sense. But other than that, I really love. I can really say is I love the movie for what it's worth. I think the special effects are good, and I kind of like it that they don't copycat a whole lot that John Chapner's thing did. They kind of went and did their own thing. The one thing I feel more appreciative is they didn't have the blood test like John Chapner's thing, like where McCready does the blood valve thing, puts the blood in there and it shoots out and that's how you know a thing. They did it kind of like this one that was like, when I watch it, when she's like trying to give the test, because they realize that when the thing absorbs you and takes over you, if you have any like metal plates or fillings, it spits them out because it can't duplicate non-organic material. And one thing that just makes me laugh is like some of the guys' excuses like, oh, you're going to be mad at me because I brushed my teeth, or I had porcelain fillings. And it's like, it's so sad to see that test just be like, yeah, not the best idea in the world. But I think one of the reasons why that test did so much better than didn't do so much better than the blood serum test is because nobody had an idea what was going on. Nobody had a clue, because this, like I said, that's one thing I appreciate about the thing in this movie, is it was so fast paced that none of them got time to study this creature. It's just like wham, 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 wham. It was hitting people left and right. Like, the creature was so much more aggressive in this thing than in John Chapner's The Thing. And that's something in retrospect I appreciate it, because if you think about it, the Thing in this movie just crashed, never encountered humans. And it's so brilliant because if you think about it, the Thing crashes on our planet and has never encountered humans this whole entire time, considering that it might have been in the ice for tens of thousands of years. They don't know, they just guesstimated. And it not knowing what the humans are capable of is why it's so aggressive. It thinks it has the upper hand. But it's also learning at the same time. Each time it sees what they can do to it, it learns how to avoid it. That's one thing I think that you'll notice in the pace in John Chapner's The Thing versus this one. This one is more fast-paced, attacking, but then John Chapner's Thing, it was fast-paced at first with the dogs, but it then slowed down, if you notice that. If you really notice the pace, I mean, if somebody's watching this, like, tell me if you notice the pace of attacks from John Chapner's Thing to this thing, and you'll see what I'm saying. It's like, it's so much more, there's like a pace that's like a big difference. Like all I'm saying is, like, you'll notice when it attacks, it was fast in the prequel. When you watch John Chapner's Thing, it was fast at first, but it slows down way, way a lot. And I feel like that's really neat that it worked out that way. Because it's like, the Thing's not a dumb animal, it's a smart, intelligent alien, it never encountered humans. But besides that, I'm sorry, that was one thing, watching both of those movies, because I did watch them both back to back, to kind of get some ideas and some notes I could sort of spurt off for y'all, is I did notice that the creature's attacking patterns changed so much different. But it seems like it learned how to deal with the humans, and it does. Because in John Chatner's thing, it gets smarter, if you want to look at it that way. But other than that, I love the story. I love the movie. I feel like they did really good recreating this movie. And it was hilarious to see how many people like hated it, but I loved it. I really did love the movie. I feel like this movie stands well. It stands well enough to stand next to John Chatner's thing and work with it. It really does. It could have gone horribly wrong. They could have copycatted the movie and you could have just got, the Norwegians doing exactly what John Chatner's thing did, but they didn't. At the same time, they did it different. And I feel like, in appreciation, this movie is well worth it. And I don't think people really appreciate when people put a lot of work into trying to make their own thing and not just recreate another one or remake it. It was beautifully done. It was just pure and simple. But other than that, y'all have a safe October. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a nice day.